So, langsam, aber sicher darf ich natürlich alle Fans, alle Fahrtenbogen nach ihren Gästen wieder hier zurück in die, auf die Zieltribüne, bitte in den Zieleinlaufbereich. Denn jetzt wird es sicherlich noch
hat die mal Licht angemacht.
Denn wir haben heute und jetzt war das bereits gesagt, ein Novum hier. Den Teamwettbewerb in Skeleton hier erleben und das natürlich auch mit Unterstützung zu später Stunde. Es ist dunkel geworden hier über den Rundfunk und ich denke, die Stimmung, der tut es aber gar keinen Abbruch. Auf geht's!
Oh, jetzt habe ich Lust.
Geht's hier los, beziehungsweise bis dahin definitiv noch bitte beenden. Das erste Team, das Sturmschützen-Team im Eishaus. Leopold und Renner sind die beiden, die das erste Team simulieren. Mixwettbewerb wird also auf Basis einer entsprechenden Reaktionsfähigkeit ausgeführt. Da wird es dann beim Start Lichtschienen geben, also 5 an der Zahl, die nacheinander aufleuchten Richtung Athletin bzw. Athlet. Die sind rot und wenn die grün leuchten, dann wird die Zeit gestartet und dann kommt es eben darauf an, so schnell wie möglich loszufahren, also eine gute Reaktionsfähigkeit. Sollte es einen Fehlstart geben, unterhalb einer
7th race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. We're in Altenberg in Saxony in what feels like, I don't know, maybe April. It is a relatively warm day this Friday as we get to our final race of Skeleton Day, and it is the mixed teams competition. Second time we've had the competition this season, and this is really the dress rehearsal for next week's World Championships. 15 teams, each have a male and a female slider. They go together as a team, not side by side, one following the other, and then their total time for both runs is added up. I'm joined, I'm delighted to say, by Rasmus Johansson from the Danish skeleton team. Now, he doesn't have a female teammate, so he is watching the action with us. But listen, Altenberg's got a reputation, and rightly so, as being a tough track to get speed from. Where are the keys this weekend?
Altenberg is a tough track, there's no question about that. The first couple of corners are maybe per se easy, but right from curve 3, that should the athletes are faced with a challenge. We have the POV here moving down towards curve 3. You really need to turn the sled into Omega. 2 pressure corner, and if you get stuck on the end, you'll flip right here, moving into curve number 5. Now moving from 6 till 7, really building up the speed in the labyrinth here, and now a really, uncomfortable corner 9, moving down towards Kreisel, really important. Corner here, you have 3 oscillations if you do it properly. If you are hanging on the wall just like here, it won't be ideal for speed. Now moving in to corner 13, moving into 14, really also a big challenge. Some athletes will hit the left wall here, and now into the last bit of track where you need to carry a lot of speed into the finish.
Yeah, you can lose up to half a second from 14 down to the exit of corner 16 where the finish line is without even trying. And that's when it looks quite decent. There's the little straightaway. That's the exit of 14 in the background of the shot. You come uphill there over the outrun.
I will have to correct you here, Martin. This is the outrun. This is curve 18.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right.
To be fair.
So we have a reaction start system. So this is like a drag race. So there is a light system that counts down, and there is a slight margin for human error. Yes, you're right. That is exactly right. That is the outrun. There is a slight margin for human error, but if you react too quickly, obviously you want to go as quickly as you can and not lose time, but if you react too quickly, then you do get a penalty. Well, there is the exit of 14. So our teams, well, we have a team from Spain, we have 2 Swiss teams, 2 Austrian teams, team from the Czech Republic, and from Canada. And we have 2 US teams, 2 Chinese teams, and 2 German teams. And picking a winner is always tricky because you can't afford to have one loose run like in any normal 2-heat race. You have to both be on it.
That is correct. I'm excited for this race. Now Spain at the line. Ana Torres-Covero right here.
Yep, and Adrian Fernandez ready to go behind. Now, it's not a relay system. You don't tag a banner at the bottom like they do in luge. So it will be 2 separate runs. There you see the lights. There's an audible sound for the athlete. Right, and you want to go as soon as possible when the lights go green, but not before. So 0.12 of a second. A good reaction time will be 0.7 to 0.9, and a slow one will be 2 seconds.
Exactly. This react time system is really tough. I've heard some experience from the athletes. Some feel like they're going at the right moment, but that either be too fast or way too slow. You really want to hit it here. Anna, moving down through the upper part of the track, really essential to carry on speed. Now, we don't really know what is in the track today. It's been some very challenging conditions, but I feel like it has gotten colder in Altenberg as we have gotten closer to evening.
Yeah.
109.1, Anna. Through third wave here in Kreisel. Gets picked up a bit at the end there. Moving down 11, 12. Really have to be quick on that, on the shoulder steers. Now moving into curve 14.
Exit 14, there's the uphill.
And now
15. Big double pressures in 16, aren't there?
And into the finish with the first time of 104.61. Obviously, she will take the lead with that time, but it is up to her teammate, Adrian Rodriguez, now on the line to sort of not necessarily bring this home, but definitely put some pressure on the other competitors.
Yeah, I mean, so much time between the two athletes, quite often in a team you'll have either the female slider will be stronger in her particular field or the male slider will. And so it's an interesting combination of how the two work together.
Exactly. First and foremost, really important to see Adrian here. He had that big crash in Sigulda 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So just the fact that he's here on the start is great to see.
You know, and you come from a tough driver's track like Sigulda to another tough driver's track. Yeah. And you think, okay, you think he went there, immediately the lights went off. 800ths of a second.
Really good reaction time from Adrian there. Now he gets settled into the track, into this curve 1, moving down to curve 2, 49.5 kilometers an hour. Does a bit of an elbow steer that is, in my opinion, a bit controversial, but I believe that Adrian knows what he's doing here. Gets picked up.
Adrian's right elbow is always sticking out, and I've talked to Andrew about that, and he said, oh, I hadn't really noticed. I said, I'm sure he doesn't either, but you watch the video, he's always got his right arm sticking out.
Now getting pushed a bit away from the entry into Kreisel. 108.4, Anna was faster there. Yep. But obviously, it's not about racing faster necessarily than your teammate. It's the added time that gets you the medals.
Rocking and rolling through 13 and 14.
Now entering a bit late into 14, that should pick him up right here. And he just seems very uncomfortable on the sled. But Adrian now in the aerodynamic position, moving down through the last corner and into the finish. 2:07.11. That is the first time that we should be taking notes about, because up next is Switzerland 2, and they will try to beat that if they can.
Yep. Well, it looked like when the men were on the track a little earlier, it was different from how it is now. Clearly, it looks a little glossier, maybe faster. The sled was sliding around. You could see his legs going backwards and forwards. So he didn't have a lot of lateral control. Lots of yawing. Again, watch here as he comes out. Sled skids so easily as you go light over that brow.
Exactly. And we have to mention that the conditions this week has been very changing. It has been warm, it has been windy, and that simply means that you don't know what to expect down the track because the ice just changes. Here's some lovely pictures from Spanish team.
Yeah, such a young federation, such a young team. And another team of youngsters here. Julia Simpson, a third-generation slider. Mother Connie slid skeleton. Her father was a bobsledder. Her granddad, an Olympic champion bobsledder.
And what we have to mention, Julia is racing for Switzerland, but has done a lot with the German team. She was, in fact, previously a German slider.
Yeah.
She should have some very good experience down this track. 0.15 of a reaction time. That is, in fact, the worst reaction time, but once again, if we all pull our phones out back home and try to, you know, quick stop that reaction time, that is also very good from Julia. Yeah. Now moving into Omega. Seems to control that. Needs to go on a lot early with the second foot steer, but she brings it under control. 1.1 seconds ahead against the Spaniards.
Well, the teams are roughly ranked in their sort of their abilities and their overall World Cup ranking. So in theory, the team that goes last should have the best chance of winning.
Exactly, but I really like this run from Julia. Now moving into 14, gets a little bit of a wall there, but she is 1.8 seconds up the road against Ana Torres Correo.
Yeah, she's a very quiet slider. I liked her style this morning.
What a run by Julia.
Yeah.
102.18. 2.43 seconds ahead of the Spaniards. Now it's up to Livio Sommermatter, the Swiss guy standing on the block.
Now, Julia made the cut in her race. Livio was just outside the top 25, didn't get a second heat. So he only had one heat in the men's race. So this will be his second run of the day. You don't train in the morning and race in the afternoon. They haven't been on ice since Wednesday.
Now, Livio is a really good starter, but can he put it together with a good reaction time?
And the problem is you have to change your start technique. You see some athletes are like constantly moving the sled before they start in a normal race. That's fine. If you move the sled here, then you pick up a penalty, whether you've actually started to move your body or not. So you really have to focus on doing something very different.
So Livio hits a bit before curve 5 there. Now, moving into 7, 8, And now the first high-pressure corner here in Altenberg, 9. You really need to extend that height in order to get down straight the pipe towards Kreisel.
Lots of the men are taking a low line in 9, and the girls tend to be a little higher. I wonder if that's a weight factor.
This looks like a decent run for Livio.
3.12 up. That's the total time between the two teams. Leaders at the bottom, Spain. Current team at the top. That's Julia Simpson watching teammate Livio Sumomata across the line. 3.89 up.
That is really good.
Yeah,
if I recall it right, the Swiss team was spending a lot of time in the leaders box in St. Moritz at their home race just at the beginning of this year. So with that time, they might as well spend some time in the leaders box as well.
Yeah. All right. 2:03.32 is their total time.
Now we have these slow motion pictures of the reaction time from Julia. Now, Martin, I just got the report in from the forerunner, Cedric Renner, that it is a bit, you know, the sled is sensible. It is, it's a bit tough to get down the track tonight.
Yeah.
It has gotten colder.
I think, yeah, and colder and faster is probably more what people are used to on this track, and that will just allow the more experienced sliders maybe a chance to use that experience. Now, on the youth end of the scale is our slider here for Austria, Anja Unterscheider. It's her first World Cup season. Been sliding for 3 years now. In fact, her coach, Alex Auer, had just retired before Anja even started, and he's not been retired long. All right, what's the reaction time? 0.15 of a second.
Once again, getting settled onto the sled.
And like Winterberg, this is so gentle corners early on, so easy to skid and give away all your time.
Definitely. But those first couple of corners might be the only place of the track where you can compare to Winterberg, where we will slide next week. Now Anja now moving through the labyrinth. Looking very calm on her sled. Now letting it rise, as I said, extend the height in order to be on the driver's left, moving down to Kreisel. 3200s behind. 1:11.3 though, best speed so far. How will she manage this exit? Gets hung on a bit. Now the quick reaction, 11 through 12. Into 13, 2/10 behind right now against Julia from Switzerland.
Bringing it back, gaps down to a 10th. Didn't get the live speed from her there, but she was quicker out of the Kreisel. She could creep ahead at the line. No, 1600s back. Coach Andy Schmidt. One day I'll look out his records on all the tracks. Very successful slider in the early days of Skeleton before the 2002 games. So they've got a little bit of ground to make up against the Swiss, but the Austrians have got Florian Auer ready to go. And now another sliding family. This is so often the case. Their dad was, again, a very famous skeleton slider in the early days. And Alex there and Flo, both on a sled before they could really walk.
We just see the thumbs up there from Flo telling the judge that he is ready to slide.
That's the great Christoph Langen, just on the right, out of shot. There he is in the grey jacket.
Good reaction time here, 900s, that is second fastest. Now, Flo has had a frustrating season so far, but really today, I feel like that was the first time I saw him happy at the track. He did, in fact, also put down a stormer in the second heat today. So let's see if he can take some of that experience that he has here in Altenberg. He knows how to slide here, he knows how to get down fast.
Little skiddy in 4. Half a second back, the gap's growing.
Has a lot to do now, moving down towards Kreisel. Oh, looks really good, super calm, a bit bumpy. 1:12.2, that is good speed. Now he has to let it fly in this bottom part of the track. He goes into the green, 11:12. He's 2/10 behind, or in front, sorry. Now going into 14. Bit shaky there, but he's 7/10 ahead.
Wow,
we will now have Team Austria into the lead.
Monster run.
4.3 seconds ahead, 2:01.90. That is a very good slide from Florian Auer and his teammate, Anja Unterscheider.
25.74.
And the celebration. Good to see.
52.74 rather, not 25.74. So, yeah, that was an absolute flying run down the bottom of the track from Florian Auer.
You can just tell that Florian likes it here in Altenberg. Here, once again, slow motion from the start. It goes green, and Anja is only then allowed to sort of move her sled and give it her best effort in the push. Once again, here also Florian with the same. In a different angle, but you see the same thing. Goes green, he's allowed to run.
All right, now for the Czech Republic, Anna Fernstedt. And this is not just a national team, this is a family team, sliding with her cousin, Timon Dranovsky. Tough couple of weeks for Anna, lost her dad, but she had a really good day in the races today.
I'd say she can be very satisfied.
Yeah.
Now 47.2 kilometers an hour, moving down into curve 3. Now the first tough corner, curve 4, makes it through nicely. Anna, once again, one of those sliders who has her experience, or a lot of experience within the German team.
Yeah.
So she has in her future days spent some time here at the track in Oldenburg.
Plenty of time, knows this place well. Her first 2-3 seasons in the World Cup were as a German slider. 9/10 up.
That is a huge margin now carrying down into 14.
Well, she's got that knowledge of how to find the speed on the track that the Germans have learned over the years, and they pass on jealously.
That is true.
1.1.
1:24 goes into the lead. Solid effort by Anna Fernstedt.
And you saw former Latvian slider Lelda Pregelena, who is helping out with the coaching here in the German team. And again, a little bit of an arm around the shoulder still for some of the smaller nations from the bigger ones. And that's, you know, part of your relationship with the German coaching lineup is that you get the benefit of their knowledge as well.
That is very true.
Right up to the time when you start beating them. Next up, Timon Dranovsky. Again, another young slider from the Czech Republic. Got into this because his cousin was doing this crazy stuff.
But don't forget, we're not far away from the Czech border. I know Timon has spent a lot of time here in the preseason getting to grabs on this track.
That's why his whole family are here. Half the grandstand is the family.
Now, it's no secret that who he is up against, Florian Auer, did better in the individual race. So Timon really has to perform well here in order to have the Czechs stay in front. 79 hundredths now as he moves through Labyrinth into 9. Extend the height once again. No, not really succeeds that. That pushes him to the slider's right. And now the first wave, second wave is relatively high in Kreisel. He keeps it under control. Moving into 11 and 12. 7/10 ahead.
Yeah, second best speed and still with a handy advantage. And if he's clean enough out of 14...
49. And I think this will be enough.
Look at Anna.
Watching.
Yeah, I think Flo thinks so as well.
Be at the line. He stays in the green. 29 hundredths ahead, 161.
Yeah, that was good. 60.37.
Lovely to see the Czech team spending some time in the leader's box.
Yeah. So they take the lead away from Austria too. And there you see in the red, white and blue of Czechia, you can see the family.
We might be in Germany, but that seems like a little bit of a home advantage to me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, and when you've got knowledge like Anna has of this track being passed on in the family, then Timon is in the perfect place to learn.
That is true.
And as you say, we're 15 kilometers from the border with the Czech Republic. Prague is closer than Berlin is. So, yeah. And Dresden is only just closer to here than Prague. Next up, Austria's Julia Erlacher and Alexander Schlintner. Now, we've seen the two smaller Austrian athletes. We now get the two taller Austrian athletes. So let's see what Julia can produce. And again, no movement of the sled.
Lights out and away we go. Yep. So Austria won. 12 hundredths is the reaction time. Now moving down to curve number 1. Bit of a foot steer there.
Just worried about getting pushed out of the groove and into the wall, so she counteracted that as early as possible in the green. So a quicker start than Anna Fernstedt had, which means she's in the early lead, but rough into 5. This is going to be close, isn't it?
It's definitely going to be close, but I feel like Julia is spending a bit of too much time to my liking, going sideways, drifting a bit down the track. 110.5 now moving into Kreisel. These 3 oscillations. Sticks it really good into 11 and 12. 1800s behind. Now moving into 13. 14 really important combination here in Altenberg. 2800s behind. Now it seems like that Anna Fernstedt is just driving away from Julia right now.
Yeah, so much time with her toes on the ice from corner 9 down, Julia. Not feeling the love, the sled not quite as under control as she wanted. And Anna built great speed in the bottom half of the track, didn't she? She was clean and clinical, and Julia was kind of fighting it all the way. So Alex, not wildly overjoyed with his day so far today. I think he thought that he left something on the table. Let's see if he can find it now.
And that's the good thing with these team races. The athletes really get another chance in the evening. Alex gets the green light here.
Such a big athlete. Could easily be a bobsledder when you look at him. 2400s back, so he's got a lot of work to do, but should be able to outpace Timon Dranovsky. Whether he can do it by a quarter of a second and take the overall lead away from Czech Republic, entirely wait to see.
Some of those transitions up here, up top, seems really tough on Alex. Let's see if he can bring this under control moving into curve 9.
Bringing the gap down.
3600s behind, 109.8. Really needs to let it fly in the bottom of the track if he wants to overhaul the Czech team. He's 5600s behind. That seems like a lot.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Really high line in 14. Left leaves him on the left side, moving down to 15 and now 16. There is obviously no sled and no speed in the sled, and the Czech teams gets to stay in front. 1.1 seconds.
1.1, yeah. So Anna Fernstedt on the left, Timon Dranovsky on the right, and Alexander Schlittner's day got no better, did it? That's not the result he wanted after a disappointing men's race. See, his vest has been pulled half off, and that contact in 14. You hit the wall there so fast, they're doing 125 kilometers an hour. And here's the exit 14, look at that.
If I heard that right, Alex just said it was a bit sketchy down the track. It was a bit rutschig in German.
Yeah.
So that simply means that he didn't really have the grip that he might have experienced in the men's heat. And that can definitely throw you off.
I think Julia the same. Sled was moving around a lot more, I think, but okay. That's Altenberg done for another year. So, let's take a look at Switzerland's Sarah Schmidt. She's first off with Vincent Buff, her teammate. So this, in theory, should be the better of the 2 Swiss teams. 1500s reaction time, well, she was erring on the side of caution and not on the side of the fastest reaction, but 1200s of a second quicker in the start than Anna Fernstedt. So with the first slider, we're looking direct comparison of the female slider versus their female rival.
Exactly.
And then when you get the men on ice, it's a hard steer, isn't it, in 6? You see the sled really rotate a lot.
And now this format of racing is obviously new to everyone, but especially Sarah. At her age, you know, she doesn't have a lot of experience or as much experience as some of the other sliders, so it's just a tough race out there for her today.
Yeah, not too much tap dancing, 3800s back. But again, this is against Anna Fernstedt, who knows this track inside out.
Now she's 3600s down. Let's see into this last corner.
Whoa.
8/10 behind, Martin.
And you know, 3600s down coming out of 13 to 8/10s down. That's how good you've got to be at the bottom of the track. That's where the Germans win their medals.
Exactly.
That's where Tina made up half a second on everybody in both runs between 14 and the finish line. Now, the speed is built all the way down, but that's where you see that start deficit overturned. Man.
Now, Sarah has left a lot for Vince to do here. It is definitely possible. Vince is, you know, he can produce some good speeds down the track.
I thought he had a good day today in the men's race.
Very good reaction time from Vincent. 900s.
Picked up a couple of spots in his second heat. He didn't look happy with it, but I thought it went pretty good. 6th best speed.
Now, in Omega, this corner, we will see the feet sort of sticking out because the athletes somewhat need to do that in order to have the sled go down the line that they want to. Now moving down to Kreisel. This week, this transition has been really bumpy. 112. Oh, to me it looks like she oversteers there in Kreisel. It's a very flat Kreisel, but he somewhat manages to go out nicely. 1.1 back though against Timon and Anna Fanstedt from Czech Republic.
Losing ground all the way down. The Czechs are going to stay in the leader's box, aren't they? He's not going to find a second anywhere here unless he knows a shortcut that nobody else has found so far. They drop back. So Switzerland 1 dropping back to 4th place at the moment. They're ahead of their teammates and Spain. But the top 3, Czech Republic, Austria 2, Austria 1. So Czech Republic continue to lead. 6 of our 15 teams down. There's a bit of a high differential going on between these two.
Here we have Sarah going through Kreisel. The oscillations very high. And here, once again, the start in slow motion. Gets in the green light, and then the athlete gets to go off. Really great shot right here.
And it's so different from a sprint, let's say, when you're down in the blocks, in the set position. Here, you're sort of stood up, and then you have to drop and really drive off the line. So it's still a technique I think an awful lot of teams are trying to get to grips with.
Definitely, and they still have some time. Now, remember that this format is getting, or is Olympic.
I think so.
In a few years, there will be Olympic medals on the line.
Well, let's see what we can produce here with Jane Channel, one of the fastest starters in the women's field. And I wonder whether a lower start, maybe with like your fist on the ice like you really are in a sprinting blocks, might just be a way to go forward.
She's 4,200s ahead compared to Anna Fanstedt from Czech Republic. That is a lifetime in Skeleton.
Reaction time was 700ths of a second, so a very quick reaction time, right as fast as is allowable almost.
5,800s ahead, moving through the labyrinth here into curve 8, and now moving on to curve 9. Will she manage to carry some of that speed that she built up top down to the middle part of the track?
7th best speed into the Kreisel. That's not great. She's only the 7th female slider down.
And she hit there before 11. That is not ideal. 3,800s. Remember, this is the part of the track where Anna built a lot of speed for the Czech team.
Yep.
Now, will Jane manage to hold on? This leads 1,700s ahead.
No, it's gone. They'll be second. Ahead of
close on the line. 1,200s behind.
There you go. Anna found a quarter of a good run from 14 is worth 2,500s.
That
absolute
is true.
minimum.
Very true right there.
Absolute minimum. And so if you're not at half a second up and you make mistakes from 14, you're going down. She had 1,700s and then had problems exiting 14. Don't leave her hanging,
Just
son.
that little kid, savage. But luckily for Jane, there is a big guy on the block now. Blake Ensi, her teammate.
But no real experience of this track. Didn't race in the World Cup here last season. So it's a good couple of years since he was on ice here. Kevin Boyer behind, joining the coaching staff as we build up to the World Championships.
And you simply can't underestimate how much it means for an athlete to have a lot of experience within the coaching team.
Yeah.
Now, Blake is a fast starter. They are 1,500s ahead of the Czech team. What is essentially a head-to-head against from Blake to Timon.
Yeah.
Now Blake really needs to hold it off that wall out of curve 4. Now moving in to the labyrinth. He's 1,100s ahead.
This is by no means a done deal. This is going to, I mean, between the two of them, I would have said it was pretty close in a head-to-head, one run. And there's a 10th in it. 6th best speed.
But now Blake knows how to make speed.
But boy, he needs to, because he's going to be in the red when he comes out of 14.
It's a dead heat right now, Martin. The last couple of corners. Moving into 15 now, shoots towards the roof. He is in the red. What will it be for the Czech team? 800s behind.
In a second, they pick off another one.
The Czech team gets to stay in front. What a day for them.
Man, that's a lot of time in the leader's box. And it's by no means guaranteed over yet. That first heat from Anna Fernstedt is going to take a lot of beating. Jane Channel got very close, and then it was level pegging down to 14 between Blake Enzi and Timon Drajanovski, and in the end, height in 15 and 16 really sealed the deal.
Just Blake here on curve 9, just get picked up a bit at the end, and that pushes him towards the sliders right. And I can tell you so much, that is not the fast line into Kreisel.
Zigging and zagging down the straight, not good in Formula 1, not good in skeleton. All right, now then, here's an interesting combination, and this one is going to be tough to call. Sarah Roderick for the USA with Dan Barefoot. Now, they could either both have out of their skin runs, or they could disappear without trace, or be somewhere in the middle. I really don't know where to place them in this field.
Well, we have to remember, they have this start line because their combined world ranking puts them right here.
Yeah.
So they earned their spot as this start number.
Yeah.
What, 7, 8?
7, 8th team, yeah.
Yeah.
But their knowledge of Altenberg probably puts them 14th or 15th out of 14 or 15.
Ooh, Sarah does oversteer there, but somehow manages on the exit right there. You know, I've been talking to the American team, and what I sort of can tell is that they are hard workers. So although they don't have a lot of experience right here, they want to know how to slide this track fast.
Well, nobody comes in here to be an also-ran. Everybody wants to be as quick as they possibly can.
That is one thing that's very true. Now Sarah 2200s behind Anna. And remember, we haven't even reached the part where Anna really made her money.
Yep.
Down here, moving into 15, 5400s behind Sarah. She leaves a lot of work for Dan to do. But now she gets into the finish. How bad is it? 9/10.
All right, 5th at the line. Yeah, Dan Barefoot is going to struggle, I think, a little to try. This is going to put them somewhere between Austria 1 and Switzerland 1, who are currently 4th and 5th.
Sarah swimming up her way the outrun and gets into the finish. Lovely to see a smile on their face.
Yeah. Well, again, having a teammate you're racing with, I think, changes the whole dynamic of this thing. And it's still an adventure. It's not the standard race format.
Now the lights turn green. Dan with a 1700 reaction time. 1700ths of a second reaction time.
Yeah.
He is in red. He has a lot to do down the track. 9600 behind. But third by speed, 49.8. Let's see what Dan can do in this track. Moving in to curve 3.
Good velocity.
Ah, really good. One of the best lines we've seen so far from Dan Barefoot as he goes into the labyrinth. 6300s behind. So now into curve 9.
Yeah, brings the gap down.
How does it look? That looks really good, really calm. 6500s, 111.9. Now it's all about controlling these oscillations in Kreisel in order to shoot out in this torpedo form with a lot of speed. 6900s behind. Now, Dan, what can you do? Curve 14. Let's see. Not as good as he would like. 7700s behind Timon and Anna and the Czech team.
I think they're hanging on, aren't they? The question is, where did the USA end up? 4th place behind Czech Republic, Canada, and Austria too. So they split the Austrians, and they are outside the top 3 after 8 sleds. And again, you know, lack of experience of this particular track, and that's probably going to be a bit of a factor as well for the US teams in the World Championships next week. Although younger sliders tend to have a little bit more ice time in Winterberg than in Altenberg. But whoa, that was Sarah's big steer, huge skid.
Yeah, but we can't forget next year's World Championships in Lake Placid. I think the Americans look forward to going over there.
I tell you what, try and get a better run down Lake Placid than Katie Eulander. Start your run up now, because that's going to be tough. Katie at the line now. First World Cup season, 2004, 2005. Here we are, 2 decades later nearly. And Katie still at the top of her game. First time she's done this. Reaction time, 0.24. She was making no mistakes. The penalty for going too early is so punitive. It's much better to give away a 10th or 2 tenths than to start early.
That is true. She is in the red, though, for now. Will she or can she use some of that experience that he has here in Altenberg to go down the track fast? 1500s behind. Now, it's a labyrinth.
World Championship silver medalist here in the Worlds in 2008. 2008, how old were you?
2008. I would be 6 years old.
There you go.
I was 6 years old back then. Now, really letting it fly in Kreisel. How will she exit? Looks all right. Not too confident on the line. Has to put it off, hold it off a bit with her feet.
Yeah. Well, Katie's got this very distinctive style, knees apart, ankles apart, her legs are straight back behind her, not like in a narrow formation. So she's not the classic glider. And across the line, a second back from Anna Fernstedt. And that first trip of Anna's is going to keep the Czech Republic in contention a long while.
Definitely. I'll have to mention that the track is potentially frosting up right now as we speak. That means Anna, with the good start number that they had in the team. You hear that, Katie saying, I have no idea what's going on.
No.
The run was maybe not that bad.
I'm just in it to
as
have
time's
fun.
telling us.
Now then, who was the fastest man in the second heat in the men's competition? You are looking at him. Austin Florian had a blinding second run. And he is starting, I think, probably as fast as he ever has.
Seems like Austin is in a very good shape. Which is not bad, you know. Next week, World Championships, so it seems like he has peaked his shape very well. 51.1,
yeah,
really
straight
good speed.
into the lead. And again, in a dead heat, in an equal race between him and Timon, there's only one winner, and that's Austin, purely because of his start speed and his knowledge of the track. But he's got to keep that lead alive.
Definitely. Steers it up. Good. Out of 9 here.
And listen, what do you hear? All you hear is helmet, no toes.
That is true. You know, there are a lot of G-forces here in Altenberg, so some of the curves you just really have to trust and sort of feel where you're at. He goes very, very low through 13 there, and that leaves him with a lot of pressure in the exit of 14. 800s now with 2 corners left. The Czech team won't even look. What is it like? 500s behind. What a result for the Czech team. They stays in front. And the Americans just move behind.
Katie offers her congratulations. Oh man, that was close. And again, that could have gone either way. Oh, he'll be gutted.
Shake a bit with his head there.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't super happy with his first run. He was very happy with his second in the men's race. This one just got away a little down at the bottom, didn't it?
And that is it. We should maybe consider. We can see here some of the lines from the previous sliders. That is frost in the track. That is not the fastest for the athletes that are to follow.
Don't do that. She can bench press your weight. Okay, now then, Alessandra Fumigali. In the women's race, in the first heat, Anna Fernstedt and Alessandra Fumagalli were tied to the 100th. In the second heat, they set identical times. They finished the race over 4 runs between the two of them, tied to the 100th. It would be beyond ridiculous that her run is exactly the same as Anna's for a 3rd time today. So that's what my money is on.
Fasten your seatbelt. This is about to be a nail biter. 1500ths of a reaction time. That is relatively good. 4/10 ahead, though, compared to Anna.
But she started faster than Anna in both heats in the women's race and could not match her pace at the bottom.
Now, how would these conditions? It has been a few hours since she raced here last, so these conditions have changed.
But in the women's race, which was this morning up to lunchtime, it got very frosty in the second heat. Whoa, very low line in 9.
These upper transitions, I don't like, Morten. She is 100 behind and really letting those oscillations fly. As I said, this is a nail biter. Now, Anna...
Oh, there you go. And this is where Anna finds another 1/4 of a second. They'll be 7/10 behind at the line. More than that. Oh, my goodness.
8
really going well. Well, no chance of a dead heat now, I'm afraid. So in 3 runs, Anna Fernstedt has a 1.42 second advantage in just 1.
That is true.
They were tied in both their previous runs. Not in total, but equal in both of the runs, which is just ridiculous. But now, she comes up nearly a 1.5 seconds shy. So the Pokemon balls did not catch them all this time. So Mattia Gaspari of Italy. Joe Cicchini there with the sleds. Let's see what Mattia's got. Plenty of knowledge of this track. Didn't really all come together in either of his men's race heats.
But Mattia is known for good lines down the track and really good speeds.
6th best speed. He's the 10th athlete out of the start gate.
Now, that is one of the better Omega curves that we've seen tonight. Now, he is still in the red. He has a lot to make up for. He's 1 second behind as he goes through the labyrinth. 8 to 9. Now, it's all about carrying as much speed as possible and also generating speed towards Chrysler.
And again, listen, do you hear the tones?
We do, in
Hardly
fact.
anything.
And 1:12.3. Does he manage to gain some speed out of the exit? No, we don't get a recording here. He's 1 second behind. Once again, the flat line through 13. I don't think that the speeds currently allow more than that line. Once again, a second behind. You know, if you want to go in front of the Czech team, you really need to put down a stormer of a run.
Yeah. Well, he brought back nearly half a second on Team Andrianovsky there on the right-hand side, but it wasn't enough. Alessandra Fumagalli's speed deserted her, and it does look as though the track is slower and slower with every sled.
Exactly. I was just reading Kim Meilemans' post before I got into the booth, and she said she did some of the best runs of her life here in Altenberg tonight, or today, but she still dropped in the second heat, and that is a fact, just, what this sport sometimes is all about.
Yeah, that was the exit of 4 to 5. And on the shoulder, big second wave.
Some good knee steers. They're trying to extend the height on the exit of Chrysler not to get picked up.
Ciao tutti. We'll see you next week in the World Championships. All right. So Li Yuqi for China now. Let's see what the first of our Chinese teams can produce. Chen Wenhao, her teammate, was a top 10 finisher in the men's competition. But for the second week in a row, Yin Cheng of China in the men's race took the gold. And the yellow jacket, Kwasi Frimpong of Ghana, who's spending time training with the Chinese team, yelling off his sort of teammates, brothers in arms. 600s up from the start over Anna Fernstedt is not much.
And 47.3 kilometers an hour as she moves down through these first couple of corners. Now into Omega and already into the red. That is not a good sign for this Chinese team.
Big skid in 5.
2100s behind as she moves through Labyrinth. I really like this line currently from Li Yuqi. Going through curve 9 and down to Chrysler. Really, really calm on his step. That looks good. 109.2. Still in the red. But how will she put down together this bottom part of the track? 7400s ahead into 13, 14.
This is going to see them somewhere around the Italians. At the moment, this will be about the 7th best run, maybe 8th. At the line, 9th. Oh, she really did lose ground low down. Wow.
Into the long outrun here in Altenberg.
Yeah. Well, normally on cold, frosty days, you'd be running into the crash mats about here. We're whistling up the hill. But today is anything but cold and frosty. No track action in St. Moritz in training today. None scheduled for tomorrow. It's so warm there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what weather we get in Winterberg, which is further away from the frost line of the Alps.
When Hau gets the green light, reaction time, 1200ths of a second, gets down on the sled into curve number 1. He has a lot of work to do down this track. Not just when we consider the curves that he has to go through, but also the time that he has to catch up on.
Well, and again, in a straight fight in the men's race, he was way ahead of Timon Dramanovsky. But the question is, can anybody find the speed any longer? We're going to find out when we get to our next team, which is the first German lineup, if there is any speed left in the track. I mean, the lines aren't bad.
The lines aren't bad, but when Hau is just losing down the track right now, this Chrysler wasn't ideal.
He got pinged away just as he was going on to Chrysler.
And 1.1 behind the Czech team.
They're not coming back from this, are they? Skid out of 14. Czechs have been in the leader box for the entire race, apart from Spain.
1.79 seconds behind, moves into 10th place.
Yeah.
There's no question that the track is not allowing some high speeds and some fast time currently. But you know, if there are teams who maybe can do something about the Czech team's time, it might be this one. Germany 1 standing next on the line.
Well, the Chinese team here are the 11th team, the 9th team down, USA, only a few hundreds back at the line. So there was speed 5 minutes ago. I mean, you can see the runner marks of every sled that's been down in the frost.
And you can even see the ice flying left and right there.
Yeah.
Incredible pictures as when Hau is really fighting the G-forces in Chrysler.
And that's where he got pinged away coming into Chrysler. It shot the sled high and late, and he was trying to fight that. So Suzanne Kreher, well, she knows a thing or two about winning medals. She knows a thing or two about getting down this track. The world champion will go to Winterberg next week to defend her title. Boy, that's going to be some heady racing.
This is Susie's home track.
Now, she's fully extended already. Where's she going to get the speed from? Not from the back leg, from the front leg. But
but a really good reaction time there. 500 from Susie Kreher.
Any quicker, and it would have been a penalty. 500s is the minimum legal reaction
Flirting
time.
with the penalty.
Wow, just phenomenal synapses, and that's what you need to slide these sleds so well.
And especially with this frost, you really need to extract every 100 that you can, and Susie really did that. Oh, hits out of Omega. That is not ideal. That is not what she wants to see, and especially also not her coaches. They have done that better in training this week.
And she's basically, although Anna is now sliding as the Czech Republic slider, she's basically fighting another German on the German track. Where's the speed?
1:10.1, that is not a lot for Susie. Now she has the experience. She will need to use all of that as she is 200s behind Anna Fernstedt. Now into 14, flies out there. One of the better lines we have seen tonight. 15.
No, she's going to be 2,500s back at the line. She's not got the speed.
Not a bad run for Susie.
2,800s back.
But it is simply too fast. Little Perdolina there simply does not really understand it. Well, she does in fact understand what is happening. And she knows her athlete did everything in her power to sort of move up the German team. For now, it's not enough.
2,800s back. Now that is a bridgeable gap for Axel Jung on his home track as well.
And there she gets a message that her reaction time was the fastest possible.
Yes. 500ths of a second, and to put that into context, it takes you 700ths of a second to blink your eye.
Now, what about this guy? What can you do? Axel Jung.
Well, he was disappointed in the men's race. You know, he's had so many medals on this track: gold, silvers, bronzes, World Championships, World Cups, European Championships.
And I have to say, I think there are a few people tonight here at the track who spent as much time as Axel has here.
Yeah.
So, if there's
anyone...
anyone...
Sea of Orange, which we'll see next week from the Dutch, but this week it's the Axel Jung fan club.
His fan club is here. He's second-guessing his Omega a bit, sort of putting down the foot twice. He's 2,700ths ahead of the Czech team and essentially Timon Dramanovsky. This is a head-to-head. In theory, the Olympic silver medalist Axel Jung should be a lot better than Timon. And there, we see the speed, 1:12.7. Will he able to put it together here on the exit of Kreisel? 11, 12, there's the fan club right there. He's 4/10 ahead. Really the first guy in a long time who has been able to do anything against the Czech team. Once again extending the lead, 5,500ths up the road. Now getting into the last corner. That is it for the Czech team. Thank you for the entertainment.
Yeah.
Now, Axel Jung and Susanne Kreyer get to spend some time in the leader's box. But let's see how long.
Well, there are 3 teams to go, so they're not yet guaranteed a medal, although apparently, according to the crowd, they might be. It is just possible the Czech Republic might get a medal out of this as well.
You know, in skeleton, everything is possible. But once again, this new format, you know, everything can happen. Once again, the fastest reaction of tonight we get to see here in slow motion. What a performance by Susanne Kreyer.
Yeah.
Here we see Axel flying through Kreisel. I guess you can tell that he knows what he is doing in this 360.
You see the toes, he's using them to steer in the air, not by dragging on the ice.
Yeah.
And that's knowledge of where you're going and how you get there. All right, Germany lead, 3 to go. Second team, Chao Dan, and today's men's race winner, Yin Cheng. Is this going to be a team medal for China?
Once again, a really good reaction time, 700ths of a second. These women really putting it together because they know they need to put it together with the frost in the track. She's 1,300ths behind as she moves into curve number 3. Now, how will she do? She's in the red, but through Omega. This looks like a calm and nice line from Dan Chow.
Yeah, a little wavy in quarter 5, but 3,900ths back.
Very late entry into curve 9.
And don't
now
forget...
into Kreisel, this is a very late entry.
Yeah.
Shoots towards the roof, 108.9, 23rd fastest speed, and hits there before 11.
Really low speed, and they're battling 2 sliders who grew up sliding on this track.
And for everyone, that is quite the challenge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it really is. Even for their German teammates, these 2 are going to be tough to beat. How far back will she be at the line? 1.1. I don't think this Chinese team is going to get a medal. I don't see that Yin Cheng is going to find 1.1 seconds on Axel Jung.
I don't think either. He is a fast starter, and he knows how to slide here. He won earlier today.
He was 1.1 seconds quicker than Axel this afternoon.
So we might just get a tight race. We have a tight race on our hands here.
Yes. All right. Do not pick up a penalty here.
That would be fatal.
Do not twitch. Okay, there we go. Conservative at the start is certainly better than being a gambler.
And this very calm sort of way of running at the start, but it is simply blazing fast when Yin Cheng starts to run. 50.9 kilometers an hour, second best speed so far. He's in the red. He really needs to put down the run of his life here in Altenberg if he wants to go faster than the German team.
Listen, what form he's in. He won in Sigulda 2 weeks ago. He won here this afternoon. 2 consecutive wins.
Yin Cheng, this really good aerodynamic position on the sled, 111.1 kilometers. That's a lot slower than Axel Jung.
Nothing like the speed he needs.
And they are bleeding right now, moving into the lower part of the track.
And right now, going to end up in 6th place at the line. So Germany will lead with 2 teams to go. And the Chinese, it is 6th place at the line.
Ahead of the the second American team, and just behind the second Austrian team.
So 2 to go. Germany, Czech Republic, USA 1. That is your top 3. And Czech Republic and USA 1, don't forget, are only 500ths apart, and only 300ths behind 3rd is Canada. So if you don't beat those 3 teams, you're basically going to drop another 3 places. You're either going to be 2nd at the line or 5th.
That very may well be.
All right, well there, you saw Xiao Dan starting here. Yin Ching, today's gold medalist in the men's competition, could not dig enough out, but it's still been a big day for him. 2nd consecutive World Cup victory. Now then, our winners in the last race in St. Moritz, Valentina Margaglio and Amodeo Bagnis for Italy. They beat Suzanne Kreher and Felix Kaisinger, Jacqueline Lurling and Felix Seibel. That looked like a quick reaction, but it wasn't. 1400s. It's so hard to tell with the eye whether it's a fast or not.
Now, what is for a fact is that Valentina is ahead of Susanna right now, but what she's behind on experience in this Saxony track.
Yep.
Moving into Omega right now.
Well, she's raced here plenty of times in the World Cup in the last few seasons. She's crashed out, she's taken medals, she's 4700ths up. That fast start takes a long time to unwind, even for a slider as good as Suzanne Kreher. 5800ths up.
Definitely. This is essentially what you expect. But she almost hit the roof in Kreisel.
Wow.
And gets really picked up. That should bleed speed. She is still 4600ths ahead, but I think that this time will drop significantly as we move down to the 2nd intermediate time. There you get it. A 100 behind. 15, and now curve 16, moving through curve 17 and towards the finish in the red.
Second back, 7/10ths back. Wow, like I said all the time, she's got such an odd relationship with this track. It either loves her or hates her. She is either really good or has a crash somewhere. Often it's exit 5. When was the last time you saw somebody hit the woodwork in the Kreisel?
I've never seen that. I have to admit that.
100%. I've never seen that.
But it really goes to tell that, you know, making down on skeleton, making down a track is easy, but going down fast is a total different ballgame.
See, making it down here isn't easy.
That is true. Thanks for correcting me right there.
Motor, Winterberg, okay, to a degree. This is not a track for beginners. All right, here we go. What can Amodeo Bagnis, our World Championship silver medalist, produce?
You just said that this is not a track for beginner, and Amodeo is definitely not a beginner. He knows what he's doing, though a very slow reaction time, 2500ths.
Well, between the two of them, they've given away 0.2 of a second to the German team in reaction time alone.
Yeah, and the 5th best speed for Amodeo now, moving into Omega. Sort of hits before there, but still manages to go through somewhat all right through that corner. Now 5900ths behind against Axel Jung and Susanne Kreher.
I'm going to throw this out there now. They're not getting gold today.
That may well be true. 110.6, 7900ths behind.
I'm going to throw this out as well. They're probably not going to get a medal today either.
Fair. You know, if you want to get into medals, you need to be 74 or 7400s or
Czech
faster
Republic
behind.
are going to be in the leaders box or in the medals. Germany won the leaders. Czech Republic are 2nd, and at the line, the Italians are 6th. Again, it's that group, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Exactly.
Boom. They've dropped behind all of them. It is Germany, Czech Republic, USA. Those are the medals at the moment with one team to go. Man, oh man, this is going to be an entertaining final side.
Really, really close race.
I wonder which...
Interesting racing, I would say. Valentina sort of holding on to her arm there.
I wonder which bit of Valentina's run we're going to see. Oh, what a surprise. There's the first pressure, and
really
here
low,
is where
and
she
then
assaults.
shooting towards.
Oh, she doesn't.
You see, not hitting necessarily, but sort of the profile of the ice just push her flat towards the third wave in Chrysler.
And she was coming off the sled. Gravity pulling her off the sled because she was inverted at the top of that pressure.
And Amadeo running here with the, relatively speaking, slow start time.
Yeah.
Now, the big question is there anything to do with the hometown heroes here, Susanne Kreher and Axel Jung, who is leading the race right now?
Well, if anybody can do it, you'd figure a team of Olympic champions would do it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Hannah Neisser, Olympic champion. Christopher Grotehair, Olympic champion and two-time world champion on this track.
Wait. I see red there. Was that...
Oh, no.
Was that a false start by Hannah Neisser?
Right.
I can't tell right now. I don't know about these graphics, but it's red to me. Right now it's red. That is all we know. 47.5 seconds ahead.
Well, that will give them at least a half-second deficit. So, she's in the red at the moment.
And that is not the best line from Hannah Neisser either, going through this upper part of the track. She's 32 hundredths ahead. If we believe these graphics right now, she didn't do a false start. Now she's moving down towards Chrysler. Hannah had some very good training runs this week, so if there's one who can do anything about Susanne Kreher, it might be this girl on the track right now.
And it might be down to Christopher Grotehair to try and win a medal out of this, because right now, 3,500s back.
There we get the reaction time for some...
1,100s. They should be in second, but she makes a mess of 14.
3/10 behind.
Are they going to drop out of the medals? Surely not.
Not yet. 2,500.
Right.
She does some good. She finds some good speed down the bottom part of the track. Now, I've seen closer racing, Martin, but this is about to be close.
I love this because it's so unpredictable. Because it's a one-shot wonder. You get one chance at the start, one chance on the ice.
Yeah, she just get the message. And she tells me, ich hab's gesehen.
Yeah.
That means she saw that it was blinking red.
Yeah.
And does that mean that she was holding back in the start, maybe?
Well,
I don't know.
Our colleagues at Swiss Timing, the Omega Timing guys, went to their B timing and it was clean. Christopher Grotehair cannot full start here.
No,
he's been very good in team races over the years.
And changing start position. Normally he starts with both feet on the block, but now you can see that he started with 1 foot on the ice. Running it really long at the start here. 4,800s behind. Now we'll see Christopher. He's a two-time world champion here. 49.9 kilometers an hour right now as you move into curve 9.
Two-time
curve
world
4.
champion and Olympic champion, as is Hannah Neisser. Can they beat the hometown heroes?
This aerodynamic position, he's 6/10 behind right now. Going through curve 9 and into Chrysler. Really sticks it well going into this corner.
Speed is good, but the gap is huge. He's got to find 3/4 of a second on Axel Jung on Axel's home track.
He's got to cut through this frost like he has never cut through it before. He is in the red, and you know, Martin, I believe he'll stay there.
He ain't gonna
7,600s.
And right now, they're not going to get silver. Right now, Czech Republic are going to get silver unless he's...
What is it at the line?
He's
moving to third.
The Czech Republic gets silver. The hometown heroes. Axel Jung gets a win on home ice. Susanne Kreher gets a win on home ice. And the Czech Republic get silver.
Silver and a tie for third place as well.
Oh, I didn't see that. They tied with the USA. Oh, we're throwing at. You're a winner, and you're a winner, and we're throwing medals away here.
But one who doesn't feel like a winner is Christopher Grotehair. He really wanted that victory together with Hannah Neisser today. It wasn't to be, and you know, these races that we've seen today has really been some frosty racing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is not always what you want to see, but that's a part of the sport too.
Well, it's an outdoor sport, and in the winter, things happen. Sometimes you don't ski, sometimes you don't ski jump, sometimes the track isn't even, but it's what it is. Well, there's your winners, Axel Jung, Susanne Kreher. Come on, Axel. Axel has got a phenomenal record in World Championship team races and team races. He's got golds, guys. For a long while in the World Championships, if he was in your team, you were going to win. Now, okay, I'm just saying, World Championships next week, these two are going to go in with one heck of a head of steam. they've overturned Olympic champions.
Yeah, and what a confidence boost for the Czech team as well, moving into the World Championships next week.
Phenomenal. And USA as well, a great result for them.
There we see Axel Jung and Susanne Kreyer.
Yeah. Well, look, what a way to end their day on home ice with a win. That's excellent. And a tie for the bronze, USA and Germany 2. So Team Germany 1 winning it. And the Italians are winners last time out in St. Moritz, finishing off the podium. So confirmation of our result. Germany 1, victorious from the Czech Republic, and then that tie for bronze, USA and Germany 2. The Canadians in 5th ahead of Austria 2. And then behind them, Italian teams, disappointing day really for them. 7th and 10th, disappointing team. China performance as well. They just didn't find it together in this team's competition, even though Yun Cheng won the men's race. They weren't able on a single run to put it together. Some really close battles as well. Look at Austria and Switzerland won, 400s between them, 300s between USA 2 and Italy 1. So yeah, so some very tight racing.
A really good way to end a good day of skeleton here in Saxony, in Altenberg. Thanks for having Martin.
Hey, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming in. It's always good to have the views and the knowledge of athletes, because I learn something, the audience learns something, and you have a bit of fun as well. So, yeah. And until you get a teammate,
you know, I know my sister's watching out there. She needs some time moving through the ranks, and then eventually we'll be there and you'll commentate us sliding.
There you go. So by the time we get into the next quad, there should be a Danish team, and there should be more new youngsters coming up behind you as well. Well, that is it for Skeleton Day here in Altenberg. And the next time we see these athletes on ice will be in Winterberg in the World Championship, starting on Thursday next week. Tomorrow we start at 10 a.m. 0900 GMT, bobsleigh with the women's monobob. Until then, from Rasmus Johansson, from me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew, thanks for joining us. We'll see you then. Bye for now.